Hi, this is Optimus Primal, and this is Silverbolt's Transformer Review.
Afternoon everybody, Silverbolt here, back for a Transformers review, going to be doing, as per the title page, G1 Shockwave. I'm going to be sticking with the cartoon-only continuation of Shockwave, mainly because his comic character is A, a lot more involved, and B, he's a very different kind of person in the comics, so that will get a comic review of Shockwave himself at some point. Now, in the cartoon continuity, as in the American cartoon continuity, Shockwave was a very highly ranked Decepticon. He was one of Megatron's direct subordinates, and a person that Megatron trusted to a very, very large degree. When Megatron originally took the Nemesis and went to Earth, he left Shockwave in charge, taking the likes of his other lieutenants, which was, of course, Starscream and Soundwave, with him to Earth on the Nemesis. Now, this was only supposed to be a quick little trip, destroy the Autobots and get back to Cybertron in time for tea. Didn't happen like that, as we all know. And then, so Shockwave was in control for 4 million years, during which of times, of course, we did have the Great Shutdown. And then Shockwave comes back and then has a whole thing, huge storyline involvement that is very, very different to his cartoon counterparts. Now, Shockwave continued in Megatron's absence to carry on Megatron's rule. He oversaw all the Decepticon activity on Cybertron and very, very rarely left the planet. Shockwave is a very, very logical person. He's ruled purely by logic. Now, the cartoon continuity doesn't really take this out to a huge degree. It's mostly in the comics that pure logic just dictates to become pure evil. Because Shockwave is, to put it simply, badass. Shockwave's main degree in the cartoon, he had pretty much just two key episodes. The first was Desertion of the Dinobots, which was when the Cybertronian was running out. He was sending it to Megatron and to the Decepticons on Earth. The Dinobots then later Spike and Carly show up and basically make Shockwave look like a little bit of a numpty. His second main outing was the Revenge of Bruticus, when him and Starscream team up, at first under the idea of stopping Bruticus, and then, because Shockwave is unknown that Bruticus and Starscream were banished to an asteroid for betraying Megatron for the 112th time. Shockwave is very unaware of this until he overhears Starscream basically telling Megatron, "I will be ruler of the universe, even if I'm the only one left in the universe," which I thought was an absolutely fantastic line. And Shockwave at this point realises that Starscream, well, he's not quite working for me, is he? Well, not quite working for Megatron. And quick little gun battle, some really quirky one-liners by Starscream, not so much Shockwave, because in the comics, in the cartoon, Shockwave is very much Megatron's little puppy dog. Very, very loyal, even more loyal than Soundwave is to Megatron. Come 2005 and the 86 movie, Shockwave is still commanding the Decepticons on Cybertron, and he's still in control. Even though, of course, at this point, the Decepticons have beaten the Autobots, despite losing throughout the entire 2 seasons of Transformers. But they've had a major offensive, and they've managed to win against the Autobots, and they now hold Cybertron. Shockwave is part of that. Now, Shockwave, when Unicron attacks, tells the Decepticons, so basically says, "We're under attack, scramble." Now, there is a part of... Now, Shockwave isn't seen again in Series 3 at all. And it is... Whether it was properly scripted or whether it's a fan-based conclusion, I don't know, was that Shockwave, like so many of the original series characters, were supposed to die off. Shockwave, despite not being the biggest character, was one of them. and he's killed in Unicron's attack on Cybertron. His tower basically falls down around him, and I believe it's at the point when Unicron basically gets one big hand and goes. So that is the end of Shockwave, and for such a character that is now iconic, though arguably has become more iconic through the comics, Shockwave actually has a really minor role, which is a pity. His comic incarnation is so much more brutally, hissingly evil than his cartoon continuity is. I just realised I've got this actually slightly mistransformed. Oh well, there we go. Right, okay. This is his alt mode, obviously. This is his alt mode in the form of a Cybertronian blaster. Which, incidentally, he actually holds a mini version of himself in the cartoon at one point. In the episode of Surge the Dinobots, Shockwave, of course, has his signature, little needly, pulsy, gunny Mega Man X kind of Mega Buster job on one hand. And in the other hand, he's got something that looks remarkably like himself. And he is, of course, also used in gun mode by Bruticus. Apparently, Shockwave can't really properly control himself when he's being held in gun mode. There we go. Right then. The alt mode, as I said, is a Cybertronian blaster. Quite large for a G1 toy. He would be the largest standalone Transformer that wasn't a City Former. I'm just thinking. Yes, he would be. He would be the largest. Obviously, he is a space-age blaster of some description. The only G1 toy, to my recollection, aside from Mega Supreme, to make noise, as in like this, is one noise. These are both very irritating, whichever way you look at it. You flip a little switch on the back of the gun itself, and you get this noise. Very quickly gets irritating. Yes, he has light-up bitsies. Incidentally, the light-up bits, if I show you here, when you shoot it fast, you have almost a constant stream of light. And if you slow it, if you put the slow-sounding, almost like alarm sirens, the lights actually change. So, okay, transforming him. He is very, very simple to transform, in all fairness. You take the barrel of the gun off, pop down the sight, flip up the back piece, the arms pop out, and the head pops up. And then you've got the only little bit of fiddly bits, which is getting the legs to align properly in the leg sockets there. Whether this was an original flaw on the toy, I don't know, but this is probably due to age. I'm also very, very wary of doing any particular damage to it, so I don't want to put too much strain on it. There we go. And unlike what I did at the start, flip the feet out, which of course I have no nails and cannot do. Oh, I have bitten them since I was like 5 years old. No, it's not that problem, it's the fact that I'm actually pulling them the wrong way. Because in gun mode I actually usually keep Shockwave's feet out. But there we go. And there we have Shockwave transformed into his robot mode. He is very, very tall for a G1 toy. Extremely tall for a G1 toy. By the way, I'll be buying a new camera at some point. One that properly reflects lighting better. So he's a very, very large. He pretty much towers over, excuse me, certainly all the originals from the first series. Like Megatron, he's a bit of a crotch former. Unfortunately, unlike Megatron, his crotch actually does something. In that the LED lights, well, it's not even an LED. It's just a micro bulb. Lights up when you pull the trigger. Now, a couple of things about the Shockwave toy. One, he's very rare. Well, he's not rare, but he's very expensive, and he's usually missing this. The other thing that he's usually missing, and I will have to blind myself slightly for a second, is this rubber hose. here that connects into the back of shockwave. That suffers very, very much from dry rot, so it's prone to split, it's prone to tear, it's prone to get ripped. I'm actually really lucky in that mine is pretty much in perfect nick, apart from the fact that his shoulder joint there is starting to scream over a little bit. There are two versions of shockwave. You've got the purple version for the Transformers cartoon, and you have a grey version. The purple version is, of course, the most desired. As well as being really rare on eBay, not really rare, really expensive on eBay, the other fault, as I said, was at the hose piping. But the other thing I want to mention about it is that Shockwave has had a number of knockoffs, quite a few knockoffs actually. And unlike most Chinese knockoffs, the Shockwave knockoffs are surprisingly good quality. They have working electronics, they're quite good plastic with metal bits. So the knockoff Shockwaves for knockoff Transformers have actually been quite good quality. They're certainly some of the best knockoffs that you can find. Not that I would ever advocate, well, I would never advocate buying an actual knockoff of an actual Transformer, so I would never advocate buying a cheaply produced Shockwave, because it's not a Transformer. But there we go. A fair degree of posability in the arms, in that the elbows move and he moves up and down like that. And then, of course, there's still the funky fantastic. Yeah, it doesn't actually make the proper noise from the cartoon, but then if I recall correctly, Shockwave's noise in the cartoon was the same noise they used for the pretty much all the Decepticon blaster weaponry. Okay, oh yeah, sorry, the head tilts. Spins, whatever. Okay, well that's my review on Shockwave for his comic continuation and the cartoon continuation and the toy done. If you have the money to get a Shockwave, and certainly if you can get one that's A, working, and B, has the hose pipe. Now I picked this up for 80 quid off Toy Foo at Auto Assembly, and I wasn't even sure if the electronics worked on it, but the one thing that I noticed was that, I mean, obviously I don't play with it setting off the noise guns, apart from when I want to annoy the dog a little bit because she doesn't like it very much. Is the one thing that I check for is the hose piping, is that the hose piping isn't rotten or split or even missing. So I was actually very pleasantly surprised when it actually worked. But there we go. Okay then, but for now then, this is Silverbolt with Generation 1 Shockwave saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.